Welcome to Washington Football Week with your host, one half of that dynamic duo, Sean Spencer, and South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer.
Don't play us if you're undefeated.
Where we celebrate past success while looking to a bright future. There's a youth movement in Washington, and they're ready to take the reins, led by a fire. It's a new day, a new dawn, no longer the laughing stock. It's time to take command.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And you know what day it is, ladies and gentlemen. And it actually this week is Wednesday, not Tuesday. Like a week ago, I went back and saw that.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, yeah. Yo, it's hump day. It's Wednesday. And I'm with my guy, South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer. What up, Will?
Oh, man, I'm glad to be back on this. I appreciate you giving me the week off. I really needed it to pack and prep for our little beach trip that we had.
Oh, yeah.
But
How was that?
It was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah, we start October on, gets really busy for me at work. So this is a little like pre-busy time celebration. And the beach was great. The boys had a great time. Family enjoyed it. It was a good little getaway.
Oh, I can dig it.
Yeah.
Nice little break. Did you guys get any time for yourselves?
Well, I did. I went golfing.
Hey, sorry, babe. Gotta go.
we kind of use this as a celebration of a year later, me turning 40 and her father retiring officially, like done from his third career. And so we went and played a really nice course, as a celebration. So there was a little bit of that involved. Yeah. So it was good stuff. But I got she didn't get much of a break, but I did.
Nope.
Her mom was there. They had a great time together. Memories at the pool.
Exactly. There you go. She's good to go, man. Hey, shout out to my guy, Will Kramer. Yo, appreciate you guys being here with us. What's up, Scott? Good luck to your Commanders, man. Shout out to your Rams getting the W against the Seahawks. Maybe the Seahawks are who we thought they were.
I know. Surprised everybody.
That's very surprising. This is Washington Football Weekly. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, week 1 has come, and we did get the W. Although, my shirt, I had to change shirts. I got quite sweaty. I got quite sweaty and nervous and anxious over this game. And we're going to get into all of it, but how do you feel today on Wednesday as opposed to how you felt on Sunday?
Probably better.
Yeah,
a little bit better because it was a victory. Happy that we won.
Yeah.
Happy that we're at where we're at.
Yeah.
Not close to being satisfied with what we saw out on the field.
Nope. I think going back and looking at the tape, I think all three of us, you, myself, and Ab, all at least had 2 score wins when we predicted the scores for the game.
Yes.
Not even a question. And the worst, not the worst thing, but the thing that we feared happened. Coming out of this game, barely winning it, and showing signs that we are not that much better than we were from last year, and that things still need to click. So there's points, Will, where I was just like, come on, man. What's up?
Well, it does say, like, the ownership changed, but the product on the field is still what it is. Yeah. And while as great it is that we got new owners, they can't change the product on the field in the time that they've come in here. And so we are only just a little bit, slightly better maybe than we were last year.
Just a tad bit. But speaking of the owners,
Scott Thaler,
I wasn't even going to say it. I wasn't even going to listen. I wasn't even going to go there. Okay. I hope you pass on because I was like, oh God. Oh my God. Speaking of our owner, before the game, walking in the stands, high-fiving the fans, being close, being personable. I really love this. And obviously, years down, we'll really see if this is who he really genuinely is. But even this little stuff that he's doing, being at preseason games, talking to reporters, being in close with the fans, high-fiving the fans, Dan didn't do any of that. This is so great seeing that. No matter how awkward he might be, seeing him in the stands, talking to our fans, that's amazing to me. I love that.
He's genuine.
Yep.
And he shows he cares about the fans. Did you hear what he did with the exit?
Mm-mm.
In his first regular season home game, the Josh Harris ownership group contacted the Maryland Transit Authority and had, I think, exit 15A, 16A, the right lane blocked leading up to it, so all fans could have to get onto 495 and merge later. Is it that difficult to fix stadium issues? He didn't. I don't know what it did. I haven't heard anything about, but the man is trying. I hear you, fans. We need a better experience, and let me see what I can do. And then
there we go.
50% off hot dogs and sodas for this. Finding ways to help the fans out. It's huge.
Right. Yeah. That is long overdue. We all love it. And hey, they showed up. Wasn't sold. I think that he said it was sold out, but I don't think it was fully sold out.
It sure sounded like it. Yeah. Up at the top, there was some open seats, but it sure sounded like it. And
without a doubt. Yeah, it was definitely, the noise was there without a doubt. The volume was turned up. But yeah, that's what I think they had said. It wasn't officially technically sold out. Yeah, but they're doing semantics here. But look,
we're talking 90% Redskin Commander fans.
Which is
95%. Yeah.
Which is about 40% more than we have had regularly. So, and they commented that. The commentators were saying, that's huge. That's something that you're not used to over the last couple of years in Washington, having all these fans here and really having a home field advantage. It's beautiful, man.
They talked about it from the very get-go. Now you had Mark Schlereth, who was a hog. So he said, he goes, I'm excited to be doing this game. And then Adam Amin was his play-by-play guy. But they both said, they're like, hey, there's a buzz. There's a feeling in this stadium. And they're like, we've been here many times. We've never felt this before. They're like, there is an excitement. This place is about to erupt.
Yep.
So it was awesome. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah. And I heard with that comment you were telling me about where he was like, yeah, man, and the Commanders. I was like, there you go. I was I knew I recognized it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what makes me tell you, behind closed doors, these guys all call them Redskins. I bet the owners slipped at the owners' meetings. They all call it the Redskins still, too. They do.
Yeah, without a doubt. But look, we're going to go back and recap our keys to victory. Now, this was a couple weeks ago. So, Will, refresh us. What were some of our keys to victory towards this game?
Sure. Yeah. So you and I were kind of on the same page with a few of the things we talked about. So the very first one we said was get the crowd involved, score early, capitalize on the momentum of the fact that you had Champ Bailey back being recognized. You had the legends, Washington legends, as they call them, that were going to be at the game. You had a sellout crowd as they were going to, you had excitement back. So do something to get the crowd involved early. Don't throw a pick six to start the game or something like that, that just deflates people. And you know what, Sean? Not only was the crowd hyped and excited and enjoying it, but they almost blew the lid off. Did you see or hear about the play that Sam didn't make? You would have loved this. So on that first drive to get them past the 50, He hit like maybe a third down, or maybe he hit a 14-yard completion to John Dotson. Sorry, I get my guys confused. For a first down, and he moved off your guy Diami, and Diami got loose down the sideline and was wide. And could you have imagined in the first start for Sam's career if he scores a touchdown to Diami Brown deep? First off, you would have lost it.
It would have been over.
Sean Tate would have lost it, but that place would have gone nuts if they had scored a touchdown on that opening drive like that in a big play fashion.
Yeah, but you know what? To your point about that, and I so wish that would have happened. And we're going to talk a little bit about why I think that didn't happen. But to your point about those fans, you can hear it even through the broadcast on television, how amped they were getting. And I mean, just to go back to when I went, you were talking about fans being engaged with the games, just interacting with other people, everybody being hyped. They had at one point the wave go around for 5 minutes, and everybody was in it. People are excited to be back. And some of those plays, that drive right before the halftime, that drive when we were down 16-10 and we ended up scoring, that play, like you were talking about, some of those things, these fans are responding. You know what I mean? When we were on defense, we were charging up that defense. You can hear it. And the defense, Montez Sweat, responded to it. And I absolutely love it. That's what we needed, man.
You know what I heard? Right after Sam Howell got hit in the head, I heard, "Let's go, Redskins."
Let's go.
Multiple times. I was just like, hey, you can change the name, but you're not going to change behavior.
You're not. You're absolutely.
And when you bring the fans back, now you're going to hear the name that we care more about. And so, but to your point, they were into the game. They weren't just there. They were into the game. So I enjoyed. The other thing I heard, which some people noticed and would like, they ain't changing the name.
No.
But the song has gone back to the original.
Good.
Okay? The band, they used to go, it's instrumental, bum, 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 is what they play. They used to do, when they changed the Commanders, do bum, 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 they drag that Commanders, dragged out.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that they don't say the name Redskins in the song. Fans may, but they have shortened the pronunciation of Commanders. So the Hail to the Redskins song is back being played by the band. So it's not this awkward version, that they've been doing. So again, bringing the fans back, letting them hear what they want to hear. It's going to keep them excited. It's going to do that, Sean, right?
Let's go. But that's what we need. And you know what? We've seen it. We've seen the different articles where they've made their stance. We're not going to go back. We're not going to. But to have these kind of things, bringing it back, to have some of the players back, some of the star. Having RG3 at the game lit up that crowd. I'm going to tell you, because there is a serious demographic that doesn't care, that he can do no wrong with. Mm-hmm. They still have his jersey, and they still sell his jersey in a number of places because he's just that electric in this area. Now, I respect that they brought back your boy, Mr. Champ Bailey. But especially since we're playing the Broncos this week, I kind of feel like he's a Bronco myself. But respect.
You're not
he was a
wrong.
Great quarter.
and our guy Jack and I got really into it Sunday, and he was, he kept saying, if you think about it, Bailey's a Bronco Hall of Famer, and I said he is. I was like, but what I was most happy about is he used to badmouth the organization, and that's squashed now. And that's what I care about. The fact that he did start his career in Washington, and and he had some great moments in Washington. The fact that he now no longer harbors those ill feelings. That's what I'm most excited about. And I have actually not bought the jersey. We're kind of on a spending freeze right here in the house, so I haven't bought it.
So we won't say anything about that.
So not yet, but I do have it queued up.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming. What were some of our other keys to victory?
Yeah, so the next one that we talked about was involving the offense and making life easy for Sam Howell. Quick passes, routes that are easy for him to go through his progressions, and most importantly, staying ahead of the chains, getting away from third and long. Didn't happen. Didn't happen in this game. In fact, when we get to some of like the things we didn't like, or most importantly on this, it's like I was surprised that the adjustments didn't happen in this game that we saw in the Browns preseason game.
Right.
When the offensive line was struggling, we moved the pocket. You know, we had quicker throws in the preseason, which I'm fine with. I'm good with quick throws in the preseason. But I thought we would do a little bit more of that. We seem to just have longer developing routes happen there. And I don't think that was a good combo with what is happening with the offensive line, with Sam's pocket presence. It was just a bad combo altogether.
Right.
So we thought it was important to keep him ahead of the chains, and we did not do that.
No, and especially and that's the thing, especially with the line, with it having the struggles that it did. We all thought when he became, it's just going to be screens, quick passes, boom, boom, boom. Especially with the rookie, essentially a rookie quarterback in there. But and Sam was to blame in some of this, and we'll talk because he did hold the ball when he did have maybe a check down or some open underneath. But still, a lot of that stuff was really trying to stretch the field, which I like. I love that we're trying to stretch the field, but let's work with what's going on. You know what I mean? If we can't get back to our fifth step without having defenders in our face, then we're gonna need to switch it up. And also, some of that was Sam wanting to get that play done. He wants to sit in there and complete the ball and keep doing it almost to his detriment, like almost to the pro. Even on the sack, when he fumbled the ball where they got the touchdown, he's trying to spin out to make a play where that's a situation where if it's a Tom Brady, it's just going down, next play. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's frustrating. It did let us see his resilience after the fact, but just some of the things that they were doing, and with the running game not really working all too well, it really forced us to have to do more things. And it wasn't necessary. The game was close the whole time.
Yes.
Just keep with the short stuff and keep with what's working, man.
Yeah. So that key they did not follow. We did have one final one. This was one of Ab's, and he was just saying basically attack. You know, we wanted to see the offense really go after people. We wanted to see the defense be aggressive. And I think the defense was, kind of followed that quite a lot, especially by the second half when they realized that Josh Dobbs wasn't going to throw the ball past 7 yards. Yep. Then I think they really kind of pinned their ears back and said, let's go. But, offensively, we didn't follow. So it was kind of like 50-50 there on if they did what we were hoping to see.
Right. It was spurts, like right before the half. Matter of fact, right after the sack fumble, we started speeding up a little bit. Right before the half, when Sam's throwing darts all up and down the field, that is when we started to speed it up. And I was good for that, but we didn't sustain it. It's like he said, we didn't keep it going unless that situation called for it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You know what I did love? You talk about attacking, and this is something Nathan has brought up before, where he's our 2-minute offense is really pedestrian. Not on Sunday.
Right.
The enemy was calling timeout early. He was making the 2-minute drive longer. Whereas for so many years in DC, we've seen us let that thing go down to like 40 seconds, and then we go, oh, let's ramp it up. Let's go. Right. So I really enjoyed that part. So when we kind of talk about that point, just like you said, that was a time he really did attack and say, let's go. Let's get some points.
Yeah, so we just need it consistently. But at the same time, you need to have all the pieces of the puzzle working. So if the running game isn't working, then that play action is not going to work. And if we're holding the ball and missing little checkdowns, then the offense starts to get stagnant. Then you start getting behind the chain. So all these things are things that can be worked out, which is good that it's early on in the year. And it's good that we played a team like the Cardinals where we can make a lot of these mistakes and it wouldn't really affect us that much.
Yeah. I mean, we've been playing almost anyone else in the league. I don't know if we would have won that game.
It would have been embarrassing. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But look, let's go into it. Let's talk about the offense. Let's talk about our offense. Obviously, we know this was Sam's debut, or not his debut. He played at the end of last year, but his first opening day, game in Washington. All the hype. Completed, I believe, 19 passes for just over 200 yards. Had the passing touchdown and the rushing touchdown. Also had that interception on the tip pass. By who? Zaven Collins. Who was the one who said, let's draft Zaven Collins 2 years ago? Oh, my God. Will, when I saw it was him, I was like, are you serious, dude? Are you serious? It's like, get out of here. Jamin, just not doing nothing. Oh.
Right.
But, so like you said, that doesn't show much. I think the biggest issue for me was the running game. We had under 100 yards rushing total as a team. And, I mean, that was really just led by Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson had like 59 yards. Yeah. And the rest of the team, nobody else outside of Sam Howell had double-digit rushing yards in the game. Right. You know what I mean? That frustrated me. So talk to me about what you thought about the offense in this game, positives and negatives.
Yeah. So let's go negatives. The negatives list is probably going to be a lot longer than the positive. I can tell you that. You're talking about the rushing game, and I mean, Brian Robinson had almost 60 yards rushing, but he had 3.1 yards per carry.
Right.
And he had the most of everybody. Yeah. Gibson had 3 yards per carry, and even Rodriguez with 2.3 yards per carry. That ain't getting it done, folks. Whether it's picking the wrong holes or whether it's the line not blocking, whatever the combination is, like that was not good, and that's not helping your rookie quarterback out either. Right. So that was a concern. We talked about Sam Howell going 19 of 31. I felt we were not balanced on offense. He threw 25 passes in the first half and 34 overall. Like we clamped down in the second half almost because I don't know if it was partly because he was a little loose with the football at times. And so we said, hey, whoa, this is going to be a close game. We don't need to lose this by getting Rex Grossman happy here. But there was not a balance out there with Howell. I think 25 passes in a half in the first half is too much. It's one thing if it's in the second half and you've made adjustments or are coming back. But so I didn't like those two things. So like you mentioned, the running game wasn't helping him. And I did not think the play selection was helping him.
Yeah, no. And as I talked about this offseason during the preseason where it backfired on me. And maybe that was the reason. But another game goes by. There's now a regular season game where we don't even target Terry McLaurin until the second quarter. Now, maybe that had something to do with the toe injury. I mean, he was still out there, so I assumed he's at least close to 100%. And when he got that ball on his first catch in the second quarter, he got I think like 13, 14 yards. But still, at the end of the day, only had 2 receptions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we paid this man this money. We're telling me he's our leader, but we're not. I mean, force feed him the daggone ball. I think that's one of the reasons why our fans love Taylor Heinicke so much. Heinicke, we know, F it. He's up there. He's out there somewhere. He's going to find him. And I don't feel like whether it's Fitz for the little time he was here, whether it's Carson, whether it's, Sam right now, we're not locating Terry. You know what I mean? And maybe I got to go back and look at the tape. Maybe he's being bracketed. Maybe he's being double teamed and things like that. With the amount of crossing routes that we do, Terry could get open. Even on that touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, Terry's crossing and the defender moves over, which prompts Sam to then run the other way, and hit Brian Robinson in the end zone. But if Sam sits there for a little bit longer, that route is open on like the one he hit it against Dallas last year. So we got to get them. We got to get Terry the ball. Like that's. I feel like that's elementary. That's something we should be doing. He is our guy, and just to have 2 receptions in the ball game is unacceptable. Now, with that being said, we had Curtis Samuel. He came out, did his thing. Jahan, both of them got, I believe, 5 receptions. But the guy that I was bashing this offseason, the man that I said that we should potentially trade, came out and showed why we need him. He's a third down threat, a big body. Shout out to Logan Thomas getting his 4 receptions for over 40 yards. Hey, this is what we want from him. He seems to be sure-handed. He's a great blocker, the size. And there is that little piece that shows he can play quarterback, and he's played quarterback in the league before. So he can be a gadget guy for us. I just want him on the field. That's huge, But our passing game needs to open it up a little bit, Will.
Well, and I'm going to push back a little bit on force feeding Terry the ball, and I'm going to go back to kind of what I've talked about all training camp when there's all this hype about Cole Turner and Antonio Gibson being part of the passing game. It's like there's only one ball to go around. Yep. There's only so many touches in a game, and and like you said, Curtis Samuel was our leader receiver, 5 catches, 54 yards. Jahan Dotson had another 5 catches for 40 yards. Logan Thomas had 4 catches, and he was targeted several more times. He is clearly going to be part of this offensive game plan. So was, like you said, was Terry being a little bit of a decoy? Was he being bracketed, and he was helping these guys get open? But we've got weapons, and so I think the ball is going to spread around. Also, why I tried to stay away from Commanders players in fantasy, because I'm like, I don't know what in any given Sunday who's going to be the hot receiver.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I will say at least, so Terry only had 2 catches, but he had an impact on the game. Because remember, he had that big 30-yard pass interference play, as well. Yeah. So, I mean, that move, that first drive that we scored a field goal on, we had over 60 yards of penalties by Arizona to get us there. So he did still have an impact on the game, but I do agree with you where I would like to see him involved even more. I mean, I don't have a problem if, like you said, he gets his 8 to 10 targets a game. I'm good with that. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Now, Will, talk to me about this line, because what you just mentioned something that I thought was more kind of damning of the whole situation of our offense is that first drive, we didn't drive. It wasn't without help. No. I mean, there was like 3 or 4 penalties back to back that really took us down the field. I believe at one point on that drive, it was like 60 yards worth of penalties that were able to get us down the field to score. And it wasn't like, I mean, that kind of hid some of the offensive issues and some of that stuff, because once we were able to get down there, we were able to, we got the touchdown. But we'll talk about that, because once we didn't have those penalties to rely on, they were getting pressure. They were getting penetration left and right. We were making no-name guys, or at least guys that I hadn't heard of. Gadecki or whatever, that guy that.
Yes.
Like, I don't know who these guys are, but they were balling out for, you know what I mean? So what is going on with our O-line, man? Because we need protection.
Well, so this is the challenge, and this is where I hate playing rookie head coaches in week 1. Because we don't know what they're bringing on, how they're changing the current roster, what their schemes are. And Jonathan Gannon got named head coach because of something. Because what he did in Philadelphia with the defensive side of the ball. So this guy has some talent, and but we didn't know how was he going to change things around. And they talked a little bit about their blitzes came from all over the place. They would, they would not just rush their 4 down linemen. They were, they were doing a lot of stunts. They were disguising where the rushers were coming from. But most importantly, they were rushing 4 guys, and we have 5 offensive linemen.
Yep.
So that's a concern. That's a major concern. Our offensive line allowed that D to look good. Way better than it should be. Now, we could, come week 17, we may look back and say, wow, that Arizona defense of players who I don't know and who they either traded or allowed to leave, they let, their second-round pick from a couple of years ago, Murphy, go to Minnesota. So they kind of purged the roster. They could turn out to be, and then just traded, Isaiah Simmons. So maybe they know what they're doing, and they could be a lot better, by the end of the season looking back. But right now, like you said, we let some dude named Gardeck get 2 sacks on us.
Yeah.
It's like we allowed them to look like all pros out there with, and this happened a couple of years ago with Brandon Staley and the Chargers, where it's like, so that was really disappointing to see the offensive line's performance. And that has been our concern all year long is, did we do enough? For week 1, the answer is no.
We did not. So, and look, at the end of the day, before we go to defense, let's talk about him. We got to talk about my guy, Sam Howell. And Will, I'm going to start. Obviously, I found myself getting very frustrated at home watching him, because it was kind of like he shows you all this stuff in camp. He shows you all this stuff in the preseason games, and you're just like, okay, he's got it. He's with it. He's boom, boom. And then it's like he came out today, and it was like the lights were too bright. I mean, not today, but Sunday. like the lights were almost too bright for him for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just seemed like he was moving a step slower than everybody else. And it was kind of like you kind of like urging, like, this is my guy. This is the guy I've watched. It was kind of like you watching your kid, like, come on, we practiced this. You got this. Like, what are you doing? I mean, he wasn't hitting check downs. He was holding the ball. He would have times when the pressure would come up and he'd move up in the pocket and there'd be an open lane to run. And he'd just sit there and he would stay. And then all of a sudden they'd catch him from behind. And it's like, these are things that you've been doing, buddy. What is happening? So obviously, then you have the big fumble where, Gadecki scores a touchdown and everything. And you see Sam, he looks defeated and everything. That is the moment when you find out the character of your quarterback. And what I saw from him after that impressed me. And how impressed I already am with this guy. But that type of resiliency where he came back on the field almost with that, like a cornerback, a DB's mentality, like the last play's erased, can't do anything about it, move on to the next play. And to see him drive us down the field and some of these passes just crisp, boom, bullet, boom, just hitting receivers down the field, getting into the one where he hits Robinson and it gets us down to like the 4 or like the 6 or 7 right before halftime. And then we ended up kicking the field goal. We wouldn't normally get that last year. We would have had a couple plays and then we would have had some conversations about time management and okay, let's go into the halftime and wait for the next second half. He gave us an opportunity, so much so that with 8 seconds left, we got out of bounds. I was sitting there like, well, let's take a shot. And I think they ran a play
to the right. They tried. Yeah, they have the field. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then obviously they ended up kicking the field goal, but that was huge because that gave the team confidence going into the halftime. Everybody talks about the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half and how important that are in the whole dynamic of the game. Him doing that and then coming out and kind of doing what we did when we were down 16-10. I loved that. He showed me resiliency. Still had a lot to work on. He does not look 100% comfortable in my opinion. And I just feel like, hey, just get with who you're going to get with. If it's going to be tight ends, if it's going to be Jahan, get to him and let's get this thing moving. Now, he needs the running game to help, but what were your thoughts on him?
He looked like a rookie quarterback. This is why we call him a rookie quarterback. He was making his second start. It wasn't week 17 when the opponent has the playoffs ahead of them, and so it was the epitome of what JP Finley has said all during training camp with Sam Howell. And I'm going to kind of butcher his quote, but what he says is, when he's got it going, he's great.
Yep.
But when he's not, it's rough.
Yep.
And we saw both of that on Sunday. There were moments when he was hitting his receivers in stride with arm strength and throwing the ball 15 yards in the air to move the chains. And it was beautiful. The throw to Terry that we got the offense or defensive pass interference on was aggressive and it was, going after it. And that's what we liked.
Right.
And those 2 touchdowns that we had are because of Sam Howell. The first one, when he rolled out to his left and then threw back his kind of sidearm like a shortstop, showed his athleticism for a touchdown. That was huge.
Yeah.
It was extremely impressive play. And then the scrambling ability when he said, all right, I mean, he ran from the 10-yard line in and said, I can get this. And, because as he starts running to the left, I'm like, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And then he took off and, okay, there's something there. That's what's there. You running is what's there. So that was the real good out there. And he showed some great moments out there, the talent that he's got. But he was loose with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too concerned about the tipped interception unless it's a situation of could he have seen that to avoid it because he's shorter. So, that could happen. However, there were other non-picks out there that has me a little bit more concerned. There was one where he hit the DB on the side of the head. All he had to do was turn his head, and the ball was right in his breadbasket. Yeah. He had another throw where the DB was a half a step late from catching it, and it was a pick 6 for I think it was Kayvon Wallace. So there was some loose throws out there that were concerning. But to me, the bigger thing was the pocket presence, as you've mentioned, and it's a combination of him holding the ball, which that is what they talked about it. North Carolina, he did. He has a habit of keeping his head downfield, which is a good thing, but also, he wants to make the big play out there. So his pocket presence, his internal clock was not really going very well. But then he wasn't helped by the offensive line, and I don't think he was helped by the play calling to help him. If we're all struggling there, let's do something different than what we were doing. That didn't happen. So it was a lot of ups and downs from him, which we know we're going to get. But his highs are very, very high.
Oh yeah. And look, at the end of the day, it's just like you alluded to earlier. The head coach for the Cardinals was the DC for the Eagles in the Super Bowl. They went up against that Philly offense. He knows EB's play calling. So there was that familiarity right there. And at the end of the day, we talked about the line, the lack of rushing, but this is still a new offense for these guys. You know what I mean? These guys Sam isn't super familiar with it. They're just picking it up on the fly, being with that and being the first week. This is to be expected, in my opinion. I mean, Sam showed us bright spots, showed us a lot to work on. We got out of it with the W, and we're going to learn at least early. We're going to have to rely heavy on our defense, and what else is new? What else is new? So what's up, Jared? How you doing, buddy? And Ab saying, hey, fellas, interesting question. How much better is Howell than Heineke?
I mean, he's got the stronger arm. The way he played on Sunday was similar to Heineke with some of the balls to the wall, close my eyes and chuck it at times, but he's got that stronger arm. So, I mean, I think he is significantly better than Taylor. And that's coming from a Heineke fan.
Yes. Yeah. Sam's definitely a lot more mobile than Taylor is. And like you said, the stronger arm and everything like that. But one thing that Heineke did that I've mentioned multiple times that Sam has yet to show that he can do is target Terry McLaurin early and often. And when the moment calls for it, he gets it right to Terry. So that's something we're going to have to see coming on. But look, let's go on to our defense, which was absolutely the bright spot for us. Tackles were led by Mr. Cam Curl. Love seeing that. Our stars play big. Montez Sweat having the strip sack, a sack and a half. I mean, really kind of putting it out there, kind of like Payne did a year ago. Pay me. It's that time. I'm letting you right. I'm letting you know I'm coming out here to play. But at the end of the day, they held the Cardinals to 3 field goals, 9 points. Bend, but don't break. As always, we've gotten that done. Will, what are your thoughts on how our defense played and how they look going forward?
I really enjoyed watching this, especially in the second half. Yes. They were aggressive. To what Ab's point was when he said, what do we think we need to see out of week 1 was attack, and they started to do it. The defensive line kind of basically, as we should anticipate that the defense is going to need to lead us during these first parts of the season as the offense is growing, and we've got a young quarterback learning his what it's like to be there. But the defensive line basically said, we need to win this game, and we're going to go do it, And Montez Sweat was able to, one of the things about it is he's always been there, but can he finish? Yep. Oh, he finished on Sunday, he made some plays out there. He made game-changing plays for us, which was huge. And the defensive line, they anchored us the way we needed to with Sweat's 1.5 sacks. Jonathan Allen had a butt sack. Do you see he spun into him, knocked him over with his rear end.
We'll take it.
Yeah. But then you also had, the D tackles were around the ball to pick it up. Payne swallowed up the first fumble. The guy, rotational piece, Abdullah Anderson, who they actually liked. That's not someone I mentioned. I talked about Benning Potato, but Abdullah Anderson, someone they actually liked, and they promoted him, and he played, and he got a fumble recovery. But most importantly, the defensive line held the Cardinals to under 100 yards rushing. Yes. James Conner only had 62 yards rushing, and we basically said to their quarterback, whose name just Josh Dobbs. You're going to have to win this game, and I don't think you can. So, that's exactly what they needed to do from an attacking standpoint, from a game plan.
One of my favorite spots was I think it was on Montez Sweat's first sack when they said the announcer's calling and says, "All right, takes a snap." Oh, they're only rushing 4 on this play. And it kind of almost like, I wonder what. Oh, that's why they're only rushing 4, because that's all they need is 4. And that's 4 without Chase Young on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. Like, that defensive line is really taking over, and it's becoming exactly what we've expected it to be. The premier position group on our team. It's taken lead, and it's allowing our secondary to kind of sit back and do what they need to do. Now, I saw Jamin Davis around the ball, but I can't say that I saw him much in the action. What were your thoughts on his performance, or the linebackers' performance in this one?
Yeah, so Cody Barton was on the field for all defensive snaps, so he clearly is our linebacker 1, and I think a lot of that has to do with they feel more comfortable with him in passing situations. They feel he can kind of do both, but I think what you're seeing from Jamin is he's going to be the run stuffer type linebacker, and he was around the ball a little bit. He wasn't very impactful, but he was chasing down some guys and making some tackles within it. And that may be who he is, And
at the end of the day, he got 6 tackles. You know what I mean?
Wow,
and 4 of them being solo, which again, I didn't even realize that. But I mean, like you said, he is around the ball, he is chasing it, and maybe having Barton in there gives him the freedom to do that. Like when we had either Mayo or when we had Cole Holcomb in there, gives him that freedom to roam and go back and forth. He uses that athleticism.
Yeah.
But hey, let's go. Let's go. This needs to be your year.
It does.
So hey, and shout out to the defense. What do we have? Like you alluded to, 3 sacks, had the 11 tackles, 4 loss. I want to talk about little things, maybe a couple things that we could work on. We, for the last couple years, and in fact, as far as back as I can remember, especially with Philly, with Dallas, have had issues with opposing tight ends. Yes. Obviously, Zach Ertz, he's torched us many times in green, and he did it again with 6 receptions here for the Cardinals. And then Trey McBride had a number of great catches, the one that he caught and got knocked out of bounds. And you just see him do that little flex on him, like, dang, man, it's like that. But some reason, and maybe that's the linebacker issue, we cannot – we have a hard time if the other team gets their tight ends going. And another thing that I've noticed, especially since last year, whenever they do that misdirection on us, if we don't come back up and have that backside shut it down, those reverses, I think they hit the reverse on us 2 or 3 times, and they're getting big chunks, and it's like, nobody's calling this, nobody's seeing this stuff. So what are your thoughts about some of that stuff? Because we got still some work to do. Well,
and on the second one, the reverse or misdirection that happened, a rookie got exposed. Yeah, Mr. Andre Jones was in there for one of his 4 snaps, and he went right after, and then all of a sudden turned and went, uh-oh, and then the guy went right past him. So he showed his rawness out there. I'm sure he had a chance to watch some good film on that and learn about staying contained. And there's a reason why the James Smith-Williams and Casey Toohills are stalwarts on this roster. Pencil them in, because they understand a little bit of that. Yeah, it's tempting, but I got to stay where I'm at because of.
They're always coming back.
Right. So, but no, you're right. I mean, the Cardinals got a couple of big plays on us. There was that drive they threw it to Rondale Moore, that 30-yard play that had me a little bit nervous. And Zach Ertz did torch us for 6 catches, and he had a few more opportunities. He dropped them. Pretty sure he dropped a touchdown.
Oh, yeah, he did. Wide open.
Yeah, but he also only got 21 yards, too. So 6 catches, 21 yards. It's not exactly, burning us here.
Right.
And I actually thought, just like with Sam Howell giving opportunities out there, our defensive backs had opportunities to make plays, and they didn't.
Right.
Pretty sure, Cam Curl had one hit him in the hands. Percy Butler had one hit him in the hands. The very last play of the game, Manny Forbes had the ball hit him in his hands. He didn't, and that's fine. He knocked the ball down and the game was over. So I'm not too worried about that. But again, we got to remember, it was Josh Dobbs. I mean, we held him to only 132 yards passing, which is great. But it's Josh Dobbs. He wasn't throwing the ball more than 7 yards down the field.
Right.
Ever.
Good God. So, which is funny. So, because Janae asked me this on Monday. Is our defense really that dominant? Or
Sean, I saw the clip that you put up. I saw that crazy.
Number one, baby. Number one. Let's go. By season's end, last week of the season will be a number one. Let's go.
Yeah. If we're playing Josh Dobbs every week, then absolutely.
There we go. 2020 all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, did offense and defense. Normally we wouldn't talk about this, but we both have some interesting thoughts on this. Will, I'll let you start. We've had snap issues, man. Cheeseman, he didn't fix it, man.
No, it's concerning.
Yeah.
It's very concerning. He snapped another one on the field goal attempt into the ground that Tress Way did an amazing job of catching, spinning, and getting it upright for Joey Sly to kick it. It's a major concern. I don't know what and the rhyme or reason behind why Cam Cheeseman has changed his grip up, but it ain't working. And I don't know if maybe like the Sam Howell, when he's going, it's great. Maybe 9 out of 10 of his snaps are better than they were last year. But to me, it looked like it wasn't broke last year. So I don't really know why he had to change this thing up. I'm out of my realm here. So, but whatever's working is not working.
No. And I think I was talking to you about it. I think even the touchdown in the second half, I think that snap was high. I got to go back and look at that again. But I was talking to you about it because it looked like he had to bring it down, catch it, and then bring it down. But no, that's an issue, man. And that's something that we can't afford to have that when, especially if these games are going to be close like this. Yeah. And we need to hit one of these field goals. We know our kicker has the leg and Tress Way is going to get it down. But come on, man. You practice. This is all you practice and practice. I know this as a football player, as a running back. We know what special teams did. They were on the other field playing with the ball and bouncing it and kicking it. They do 3 or 4 kicks, and then they're just kind of, messing around. So this is all you do, and you're getting paid to do this, my guy.
Right.
You need to get this thing together because that's not what we want to lose the game on.
It could very much, come in a crucial situation that he botches another snap. I got flashbacks to Dan Turk. Not even giving Brett Conway a chance in 1999. God. Yeah. But there was a good thing I wanted to talk about the special teams.
Okay.
And that is Jamison Crowder. And I kind of squashed a little bit. There's a lot of excitement that we brought Jamison Crowder back. And you and I were excited. He was a Redskin that we very much liked. He was back there as a punt returner. All right. And I thought he did a really good job. He looked very comfortable out there. He only had 3 returns for 10 yards, which looks awful, but there was a penalty that brought back one of the ones where he actually got free a little bit. But most importantly to me is he looked comfortable back there. And people forget, because he was a punt returner for us, they just think he's been a punt returner for 6 years of his career. When he left Washington, that kind of stopped. He didn't do it the way he did for those teams when he went to Buffalo and New York. And he wasn't that for those teams the way he was in DC. So it's been 3-4 years since he's been a consistent punt returner, and he looked really comfortable to the point of he's on our 53 now. So Dax Milne can rest his hamstring as long as he wants. So I do want to give some praise to Jamison Crowder there. Love having him back, and he looked pretty good in the role too. Oh,
absolutely. Absolutely. One more thing I did want to mention, because this was something we talked about last year. Our MVP at this point, still Tress Way, our guy. Shout out to him. He's always balling out. We know he's got the golden leg. 6 punts in this game, as to be expected. We know what our offense looked like for 266 yards. Will, another week.
This is your weekly stat.
Another week where our punter outgains our daggone quarterback, man. Come on. Oh, gosh. I'm glad we have a great punter in Tress Way. I'm glad we have that guy stealth, but at the same time, man, we need our offense and our quarterback to be getting more yards than our punter. Just has to be that way. Winning teams have it that way, and I'm gonna keep calling that stat out.
Yep.
So
I'm with you.
Let's get it. But look, we got to go ahead and move on, ladies and gentlemen. The Washington Commanders are going. We're going to the Mile High City. Ladies and gentlemen, Denver, Colorado, which, as you know, if you're any fan of the college football world, Colorado is on fire right now. Absolutely. And I think we have a guest, and I think our guest will agree that maybe the Colorado ticket is a little bit more expensive than the Denver Bronco ticket right now. Oh, I got to shout out my homegirl and one of the hosts of Let's Talk Football, the Round Table, Tina Winter. What up, Tina?
Hi, guys.
Hi, Tina.
I would say yes, but the thing is like there's a 15-year waiting list for Denver tickets. So,
True.
I mean, it's always they're sold out almost every year. But yeah, Colorado is balling out right now.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be an interesting one. Like Sean and I have talked. I don't follow a lot of college football, but I'm definitely following the Buffs this year.
Everybody is.
When I can catch the NIU game, which we're playing Nebraska this weekend. So I have a feeling Nebraska's going to be a little pissed.
Yeah. But maybe you guys can get it done. You guys, who's your quarterback? Isn't it Rocky Lombardi?
Yeah, it's Rocky Lombardi.
Michigan State quarterback. Oh, yeah. Maybe he can do it.
It's his last year, so we'll see what happens. They lost to Southern Illinois by a field goal last week, so I'm not really.
Oh, let's move on to something that maybe might win in the next couple weeks. Our Washington Commanders play Tina's Denver Broncos. We know what happened last week in your first game. You came up just short, lost 17-16. You know what questions everybody asks. Is Sean Payton the answer? Is Russell Wilson, is he back? Is he going to be able to do it? Talk to us about your team coming into this game and who we need to look out for.
I do think Sean was a good hire. I was kind of on the fence in the beginning, but the offense actually was moving the ball. They were getting it done. And there's some people that were complaining that we didn't have a lot of long balls, but Judy's out. We lost one of our number one wide receivers. And also I hate to say it, but the safeties for the Raiders are kind of good. So I think the game plan this year was to do the dinks and dunks and just keep the ball moving and keep it going and trying to get Javonte back in and trying to get Perrine to keep going. And also, what are we doing with Mims and a few of those guys? So I was okay with the offense. There was one throw that Russell had that he threw at Cortland's feet and it hit the ground. But other than that, I thought it was okay. I mean, it was an improvement, definite improvement over last year. So defense, I was very happy with them. I mean, we kept Josh Jacobs to 66 yards. And usually he runs over he's been getting 100 yards plus every time we play him. The other thing is we kept Devontae under, I think he was also under 70 yards too.
Yep.
So
6 catches, 66 yards. Yeah.
Yep. So I think there's some people in there. I mean, Zach Allen has made a difference in our run defense. He's the guy that we got from Arizona, which I think also helped you guys in your game.
Thank you.
He wasn't there.
Yep.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. Let's see who else. I mean, our pass rush, I think it's going to start getting there. I mean, it's to kind of go back to the offense. PFF gave Jimmy Garoppolo a 107.8. Russell had a 100.8.
Oh,
that shows you how close that game was.
Yeah.
We had some problems when Caden Stearns went out with his injury. Yeah. They brought in Damari Mathis, and they were pinpointing him, and Jacoby Myers took every advantage of that.
Corner, okay.
Yep. Yeah.
How did Surtain look?
Surtain, I think it's something like 6 batted passes, and he didn't allow Devontae to have a touchdown.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
So he was definitely shut down. It's with all your corners and your safeties. They're going to have great games, but they're going to have that one play that they blow. And there was one that he blew with man coverage, but that happens. So, But I was very happy with Surtain. And I was actually generally happy with the defensive line. Offensive line is a little bit more to gel, I think. So
I want to learn a little bit about that because look, we'll start with defense. And I'll be honest, I don't know all the guys on your roster. I don't recognize some of these guys on your roster. Okay. Yeah. And that's that could be just me not knowing things. But so the Commanders' strength is our passing, our wide receivers, tight end Logan Thomas, our weapons are through the passing game. Our concern is our offensive line. So talk to me about your defensive line. You said that they impressed you a little bit. Tell me who, Zach Allen, you've already kind of mentioned, and talk to me about your secondary, talk to me about your defense and who do we need to be concerned about? And also then what are some matchups we may want to be trying to exploit? You kind of mentioned Damari Mathis already.
Okay. So Damari Mathis would be in our cornerbacks and our safeties. That's also where we have Kareem Jackson, who we got from Houston. Our secondary, I do think, is one of our strengths right now. But with Caden Stearns going out, there's a situation there. And I do think that's a situation that your guys can exploit, depending on who they're throwing to. No one ever throws to Surtain unless they have to. That's just the way that it is. They avoid him because he's good. And he gets interceptions and that. So then to kind of bring it back to the line, the edge rushers are we have Randy Gregory. We also have Jonathan Cooper, who has been on fire out of the preseason and also this year. He's turning into a pretty good one too. They moved Barrett Browning from a Mike to a pass rusher, but he's injured and he's not going to be back for a couple of weeks. So I got a little lucky on that one.
We'll take it.
The run defense, in addition to Zach Allen, there is Alex Singleton and the other guy's name, who I should not be. We've had him since we drafted him from Iowa. There's another guy in there that he's really good too. So run defense, wide receivers, and that's what I saw. Like you guys have got some really good wide receivers. So that's going to be a matchup to watch right there.
Interesting. Awesome.
Yeah.
Talk to us about Russell. So everybody has their opinions on who he was when he came from Seattle. He was traded from Seattle to Denver. We know the year he had last year with Hackett and how hard that offense is. He's got Sean Payton now. He completed 24 passes. He looked good. You talked about his PFF said it was 108, but he also had under 200 yards. But had the 2 touchdowns. Is he that threat that he used to be, or is he a game manager now?
I think Sean's the game manager. Sean has actually come out and said he's going to be doing more 12-man options. There's not going to be 3-4 wide receivers out on the field anymore. It's going to be a couple of wide receivers with some tight ends and the running backs who might run the slot and catch some balls and things like that. So could Russell be more of a game manager now? Yeah, but he did show he threaded the needle to that. Scored a little Jordan Humphrey in the back in the back of the end zone. That thing was just, and he did take a couple of attempts to throw the ball. But I mean, come on, the guy's been in the NFL, how many years? 15? 10, 15?
Oh, wow.
He's getting older. He's got to. That was the reason why Hackett's system made sense to him, was it was trying to turn him into a pocket passer. But let's just admit it. He's not a pocket passer. Right. He is the option, running it around. There was one that he tried. I forget if it was Perrine or if it was Javonte. There was one ball that he tried to toss to one of them. If he just ran it, he would have had the first down. So
thinking too much.
He's thinking too much. And it's a new offense. It's a new idea. And we got some growing pains. But I saw a lot there that I liked. So, and you guys were talking about your defensive line and stuff. So, I mean, based on what I didn't watch the game, but I was reading up on your guys' game, and it sounded like you guys were kind of hounding the quarterback too. So there's going to be that issue. But we were also playing against Max Crosby last week, so he was hounding Russell
right.
Yeah. He's used to it.
I mean, I joke around and I say they don't have a defense other than Max Crosby, but I mean, Max Crosby in and of himself is
right. They're in your division. They're in your division. What would you expect? We talk ill of Cowboys. I called the Giants trash the other day. It is what it is. Will, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I want to hear about, you just mentioned, so again, our strength on our team is the defensive line on defense, but your offensive line, you guys have been beefing it up the last couple of years. You've spent some money. You also drafted a dude that I'm really curious to see how he's been performing, because he came from Wisconsin Whitewater, maybe. Was it Quinn Miners? He's a division.
Oh, Quinn. Yeah.
So how's the offensive line? How's that matchup going to be on Sunday? Is it, you said they struggled on Sunday in the game against the Raiders, but is it more of it as just first games, and is that something that who do you think's got the advantage?
Games. I think they're going to continue to gel because, so you're talking about McGlinchey and Powers, who we acquired.
Yes.
They did make a definite difference in the system and in terms of beefing up the middle. So then it's become towards our outsides. And I love Meinertz. He's hilarious. Great guy. He actually made a huge difference last year in what we had on our offensive line, but it was still kind of bad. The one that is actually, I think, turning out to be the weaker is Garrett Bowles. And he's the veteran that's been on the team since he got drafted. In the preseason, he was not doing well. And I think that had to be because he was used to playing with the line, and this new line coming in, it took a little bit. It's taken some for it to gel. Bowles, normally when he's not playing comfortable, he gets penalties left and right. It's either holding or something like that. And he didn't have one of those. So it's good. I think that's a growing pain situation. But in early games, and especially a team like yours, which I do think is better than what we played last week, it's gonna be an interesting game. It'll be I'd like, as long, I hate to say it, but I'm one of those that as long as we can win one more game than last year and make progress, I'm okay. But
so here's a question that I had for Sean before we got on here. This is what I'm going to ask you this.
Okay.
Do you think, because I'm impressed with your coaching staff, all right? Obviously Sean Payton and what he did in New Orleans. Joe Lombardi, when he was the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, torched us in his first game as an offensive coordinator. So, and he came from Sean Payton. So they have some continuity there. Was it Vance Joseph as the defense coordinator? You've got some talent there. Do you think Sean Payton took this job because he wanted to resurrect Russell Wilson, or because he's looking at the draft next year and building a new franchise?
I think both.
It's like win-win situation?
Yeah. Because the Walton Penners, they spent so much money on bringing over Sean Payton. There's no way they would fire him after 1 year. It's not going to happen. So I think he has both. He's being given the chance, and he probably, you all heard about the rumor that came out that he told Russell to stop kissing babies because he's not running for president. This is Sean looking at Wilson and saying, you want to continue to play after this year for us. Let's do the work. Let's work it out. Let's get it going. And I think it's there. But I think losing Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler, Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Johnson was on injured reserve until right before the preseason. That's just 4 wide receivers right there.
Yeah.
So going into this game, when you don't have Jerry Jeudy on one side and Cortland on the other, they're going to always go towards Cortland. And then the guys behind are younger and they're new. So who's going to play the slot? And Jeudy doesn't play slot, but Jeudy can juke like nobody else and get guys to go.
If he's on the field, he's a threat.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Which he had limited practice today.
Oh. We don't need him back. Come on, take your time getting back, all right?
Yeah. Rest
that
yourself.
was the thing. He wanted to play last week. He really wanted to play. And they told him no. They said, no, you're going to sit back. You're going to rest some more. So he may be there. He may not.
Huh.
So it'll be an interest. It might be a Sunday call. So, and unlike Hackett, Sean doesn't tend to try and hide things from from his injury list.
Yeah.
So you're going to know. If Judy's not going to play, they'll probably tell us over the weekend. So it'll be a first game back. So, I mean, the big thing that's hurting us right now is Dulcich is.
No. Yes.
Greg Dulcich at UCLA, baby.
And we get torched by tight ends.
Yep.
Well, we got 2
You do.
that are still really good.
Yes.
But they're just not as fast as Gorgeous George is, as I call him. He's just really, really fast.
Yeah.
Now I wish we'd kept Albert O, but
I was wondering that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be an interesting game. Actually, I wish the game was in 2 weeks and not this week when you're in town, Sean, because that would be
I know. That would be good.
Yeah.
I would love to see your face. My Commanders, put that left hand up, baby. But look, we have a segment on here that we do, Tina, and it's called Keys to Victory. Oh, you got if you have them, put them out. Do you have them? I know I should have told you before. So, there we go. There we go. Keys to victory. So this is we're gonna give each 2 keys, do it one at a time, go around, and then give our second one on the second go around of what we think one thing that our team needs to capitalize on, offense or defense, that's going to make it for us. So Tina, we'll let you go first. What is one of your keys to victory?
Our secondary has to control your wide receivers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Valid.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Will, what you think, man?
So I'm going being in Denver and the crowd. That is a loud stadium to play in.
Yes.
All right. So but there's more to it on Sunday. Washington needs to score early to settle that crowd down because not only is it normally a loud stadium, they are celebrating legends and champions. Champ Bailey's going to be there. You know who else is going to be there? Clinton Portis will be in attendance on Sunday. They are celebrating some
both
past
people
Super
in the
Bowl
trade
champions. I know. And they were together last week in D.C. So there's already going to be this. It's their home opener. There's going to be extra hype for the game. It's already a loud crowd. You're going to need to score early in order to kind of quiet them down a little bit so that you can, continue to function. But that's really difficult in Denver because in the first 3 weeks of the season, opponents are 3-21. This is not the time to be going to Denver. So it's going to be challenging. Going to be a big challenge.
Because it normally takes the teams a half to get used to that temperature and I mean that the air quality, altitude, right? So for me, it's let's deflate the ball, stay out of the air. We need to establish our run game. You talked about how you got, your run defense is good with, Zach Evans, but, maybe struggle elsewhere. That we struggled with our run with only having Brian Robinson getting just under 60 yards. We got under 100. We have to establish that run and take a lot of the pressure off of our quarterback, Sam Howell. We don't want him tossing to your Patrick Surtain. I don't need to see you excited about that. No.
Love that, Sean. Yeah.
Tina, what is your second and final key to victory?
Well, I'm going to repeat what he said. Our second victory is our stadium, our fans, and the noise we can make. Because, I mean, coming to Denver is always an issue because of the altitude. It is harder to breathe. It is harder to be there. Now they are also, and I love looking into the second half when like the defense or the offensive line has got the oxygen masks on and they're just like, it's real. It's really, in the past, players haven't been able to travel with the team because they could get sickle cell. Like if they have the sickle cell anemia gene, they can't go because it can trigger that. Secondly, the fans do get into it. And just a little correction, it's not our home opener. That was last week. It's our second game. But here's people realize the reason why Denver is able to get as loud as it can is because all of the seats are made of girders. Like, like most stands, it's concrete and you have the seats and the seats are metal. The floor is metal.
Okay.
So that noise you hear at Denver is not just loudness, it's them banging on those girders.
Okay.
And that's why it gets so disruptive for players and stuff. So that would be my keys to victory, is that the fan base and the stadium is always something in our favor. But not to just completely, but Russ has got to be, if Judy's back, that's the other key to victory. If Judy has both Sutton and, if Russ has both Sutton and Judy, I think that offense will start to click a bit more. So.
I like that. Will, what you got?
I think it needs to be similar to what we said last week, where we have to make things easy for Sam Howell. We need to have short passing plays. I think we need to go after their DBs and linebackers. If knowing that no one goes after one corner, then don't do it. We have other receivers who can expose them. We have tight ends who can get open. So put the ball in your playmakers' hands and let them do it. And that will also take away the pressure from a pass rush and help Sam get into a rhythm, because what we did last week is not going to work. Probably will not work 2 weeks in a row. And we need to change that game plan and get quick passes out into our playmakers' hands. Whoever it is lined up away from Surtain, that's fine. But utilize our strength.
Oh, yeah. And my last one is we need to do what Tina was talking about with her secondary. Her secondary has guys that can lock our guys down. And if that ball starts getting in the air, I'm worried about it. We need our secondary to do that. Hopefully Jerry Jeudy does not play. One more week, buddy. But if it is just Sutton out there, and another person I'm very fearful of, Javonte Williams, because he's a Tar Heel great. All right. So I know what he can do. All right. So our secondary needs to get up in their faces, needs to play impact defense. And honestly, I really want some interceptions. I want some turnovers by that secondary more than just that defense. And we know what our front four is going to do. I'm very confident in that. But our secondary, when the ball does get out, I need our secondary to make some plays and kind of, flip the field, help us out, man.
Yep.
So absolutely. Tina Winter, awesome. My dear, I hit you up at the very last minute. I said, you know what? We do have a Broncos fan. And you were ready. You were receptive. Tina, I thank you so much. I so appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You were awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on, guys. And hopefully this game, the refs aren't playing ticky-tacky little crap like they did with us last week. So they'll let us play a game.
Right. I mean, they'll be in your house, so we expect that. You're already expecting a little home cooking. Right. You know.
So okay, guys, well, it was great thank you for having me on. It was great to be on. And Sean, anytime, if I'm home or if I can get to it, I'll jump on. So
Tina, I can't wait. I'll definitely hit you up, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. 2 weeks.
Looking forward to you.
Get it in.
Right,
might go to the Northwestern game. Think about it. All right.
Okay.
Peace.
Bye.
Yeah, buddy. So there you go. There's our insight.
Score predictions.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do it.
Sorry, we should have gotten her to just score predictions.
Oh, I didn't think about that. There we go. All right. Week two, Commanders going to Denver. Will, what are your thoughts? What do you think the score will be?
I think it's going to be a challenging game. I think we've got the stronger pieces to beat them, but it really is can we handle the crowd? This is Sam's first away game as NFL starting quarterback, so I think there's going to be some challenges. But I also think I have faith in our coaches in what they did last week and what they're putting together. So I'm going to go 22-17 Washington.
I like that. Honestly, after week one, I realized that until we get things clicking, 20 might be our limit again. So I'm going 17-13. I think our defense will be able to stymie their offense and only give up maybe one touchdown to them and just hold them to field goals otherwise. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, hey, shout out to our girl, Tina, came on the show and killed it with all that knowledge about her Denver Broncos. And definitely tune in to her on Tuesday nights with Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable with her, Nicholas Zario, Delilah Crespo, and Anthony Handy, talking all that good football with the news and notes. But, hey, you know what this is. Washington Football Weekly. My guy over here, Mr. Will Kramer. Week 2. The season is in.
Get it.
I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm happy. College. Your boy, you got a big matchup this week.
Big game. Yep, going down to Athens. We'll see what they can do. We'll see if can Beamer in was this his third year now finally get his team prepared to play against them. Yeah, I don't know. He made a comment last year, he goes, "Hey, we got guys on our team that Georgia recruited. So we got we got horses that can play with them." That didn't happen. So we'll see if and they got torched in the beginning of the game. So
I was about to say, it didn't last till halftime. I remember seeing them exit the stadium.
Oh, yeah, it was bad. And this is in Athens. But, if Steve Spurrier can win there, come on.
Oh, yeah. Well, very true.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy that North Carolina does not have to play App State ever again.
No,
we need to be done with them. We need to be done with them. I can't stand it, man. They make me sweat every single time. We did get the W in double overtime. Yeah. And shout out to our Marion Hampton, our running back, man. He over 200 yards, I think 234 and 3 TDs. So, hey, took a lot of pressure off Drake May, man. So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. That's my guy, Mr. Will Kramer. I'm Sean Spencer. Stay tuned this Sunday, Washington at Denver. Since it's Denver, are we the 4 o'clock game or are we early?
Yep, 4:30.
4:30. So, yes.
Go out to brunch. Take Kat out to brunch.
Take her out. Get her back early. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of last week where I had to miss most of the first quarter. So,
yeah.
All right, people. We're out of here. Stay tuned to all the good stuff we got coming up. And peace. HCTR, man. Stand up. Left hand up. Who are we? The command.
Yep. Still live.